In the big leagues, told them don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly.
How are we doing, football fans, USFL fans, but most importantly, Houston Gamblers fans? Welcome to episode 8 of season 3. I've been gone for a hot minute, but we're back now. A lot happened. The merger news started happening. People got worried. Even I was worried the Gamblers weren't going to exist. We're still not sure. I got married. A whole thing happened. So sorry I've been gone, but now I'm back. And yeah, let's get right into it, man. Let's jump in. Let's put me on, and boom, the state of the Gamblers. Everybody, the State of the Union. The president comes out. He talks about the United States, my fellow Americans. Well, we're talking about the state of the Houston Gamblers. What is the state of the Houston Gamblers? Well, we aren't completely sure, but that's okay because merger news has slowed down, but that means that we're still here. So let's talk about FA signings. FA signings? Well, if you look at my fun little graphic there, we have signed nobody. We've signed nobody as of 8:31 p.m. the 15th of November in 2023. Now, the last signings that we had were September 30th. So it's been a few months. It's been some time. And the last two were Kenji Bahar and Montel Kozart, which were great because those are very important pieces. We got quarterbacks. We know that we have someone under center next year, right? Which is very important. So that's good. But then the merger news came out very shortly after that, and we've seen nothing since. So a little worrisome, but we'll touch on that later. Now, let's move on to the most entertaining part of the offseason for me and probably a lot of Gamblers fans right now. It's the mind of Mark Thompson. This man, I made his brain colorful in this graphic because he has a very colorful imagination. The man is all over the place, from talking about marrying cougars to talking about the merger happening, to talking about the merger not happening, to talking about how he would make the merger if he were to do it. And it was a pretty good plan, might I say. I commented. It wasn't exactly how I would like the Houston Gamblers to flesh out, but it's probably a pretty realistic thing that he said. So he's been all over the place. He got in a fight with Jamar Smith. He's been calling him Caillou. It's all really funny. I didn't touch that with a 10-foot pole because I don't like controversy. But I think that he's saying a lot of things. And, a lot of people are wondering, where is Mark going to be next year? And so while being entertaining, he's also leaving us little breadcrumbs on what team he's going to be in. So let's dive into it. I kind of split it into segments. So he has a lot of tweets, but there's kind of different threads of them. So I'm going to try and stick to a couple of the threads. So the first thread we have is, does Mark Thompson think that the merger will happen? The answer was yes. It has now become no. So he says, if we merge, I'll change my number to 99. Personally, I want us to merge now just because I want to see a running back in number 99. I think that would be really cool. That would be sick. A running back in 99? 7 slick. Love it, dude. But 99 would be so cool. I just think it would go hard. That's just me. And then he said, let's all be honest with each other. The merger is not happening, not this year at least. I understand that. And a lot of people do feel that sentiment now. It's been a while. Merger talk came out hard and heavy. We were hearing a lot of things. And the rumor mill started. Then, the USFL finally said, oh, yes, we are going to try and merge. And we're like, oh, no. And then the XFL said, oh, we're going to try and go and merge. And then Danny Garcia and The Rock each took the XFL off of their LinkedIns and everything. It's off of all their bios. So you're like, oh, man. And then you hear about what actually happened. Redbird Capital, they were the ones who lost $60 million, right? They obviously don't like losing that money. So they reached out to the USFL and they said, we want to merge. So maybe they said, hey, things didn't go exactly how we planned. Everything's pointing to the USFL is in charge of this merger, right? Everything's pointing to they are in the driver's seat. The USFL, they sent out a letter to the coaches. They sent out a letter to the players. We got a copy of it. It said, keep trudging on. Season 3, it's happening. If the merger happens, great. If it doesn't, season 3, we're doing it. It's great. So I understand what Mark's saying. And at this point, it feels like he has shifted to what the USFL said. They said, hey, just act like it's season 3. If you're not hearing anything, show goes on. And so he's doing that. And that's great. So what is he doing? I don't know. That's the hard part, is that these are actually very recent tweets. I took off when they were, but I think they were this week. Uh, the ref talked to me. He said, whether hashtag rough them up or we're going hashtag all in, I'm ready for more spring ball in Houston. What he means by that is whether it's the Roughnecks, whether it's the Gamblers, he's with the Houston team. Obviously, the ref, Stefan, he lives in Houston. He's a Gamblers and a Roughnecks fan. So he said that. Mark quote tweeted it and said, definitely all in with the Gamblers emojis. I never even thought to use the Joker card. Love that, Mark. Dude, sick. I'm gonna copy that, just so you know. So he's throwing up, I all Gamblers, all in, which is great news. And if you just saw this, you'd think, oh, Mark's coming back to the Gamblers. But who knows? And then he posted the bros, and he posted kind of a screenshot of an iMessage group message of Gamblers players. So you have Anthony Ratliff Williams, Big Av, which is Avery Genesee, BK, and then at the bottom it says Clint Sig. So he's obviously talking to the players on the Gamblers. He's talking to the guys in that group chat. It says Nick Grant, Dan Lake, and Shamari Jones. So it's not just offensive players, it's also defensive players. So he has some swing. You don't know how much swing Mark actually has. A few of those players, Anthony Ratliff Williams, he already re-signed. I think he's the only one on there who has actually re-signed. So who knows? But then we go to the third thread of what Mark Thompson's, the mind of Mark. What is happening? First of all, he's throwing shade at our man Dave Smith, and I think that's hilarious. Dave, he's kind of become a troll from everything that we know. He's an older man who lives in Alabama, and he's kind of become, he's not afraid to say things. That's all we know about the guy. And so he said, "So where are you going to plant your feet in 24?" I believe this was a comment on the picture of the group chat. And Mark said, "I'm going to keep you guessing, Op. Worry about the ponies, not me. Hashtag self-made jockey." Love it, dude. That is fire. Hashtag self-made jockey is hilarious. And, Webb and I on USFL, we've been calling them the ponies for 2 years now. Absolutely love it. That was fire. Loved it. He's very active. He's going to respond if you comment on his stuff. Go comment, follow Mark Thompson at In Mark We Trust. He's just the most entertaining part of the offseason. Then he said, "I know what team I'm signing with. Just waiting on this merger stuff to clear up. Y'all are going to be surprised how fast everyone starts signing once the confusion is over with." Now, he put this tweet right. It was early November, November 6th. I think he started doing a lot of the mergers not happening talk after this tweet. And so it seems like at this point, he knows where he's going. He knows which team he's going to be on. He's just not going to sign yet. He wants to get officially, the merger is happening. The merger is not happening. But it seems like if it does happen, either way, he's signing with a USFL team. So it's down to 8 possible options. We got the 8. From the previous tweets that we saw, you might think Gamblers. But then we get this next thread. And this is where he's screenshotting his own chats. He's showing us his iMessages. And this is where you can kind of get the breadcrumbs. This is where you can kind of figure it out. So he said, "I've been making so many moves with other dudes looking to win behind the scenes. I'm not the story. I'll never be the story. The team will be. Watch this." I love the sentiment. Mark, while on Twitter and stuff, some people might think he's, I don't know, me. Everybody that I've talked to on the Gamblers, Mark is a great teammate. When you talk to him in the post-game press conferences, Mark is all about the team. He doesn't love talking about himself that much. He loves talking about his teammates. If you're talking about, oh, you got some plays off. I specifically asked him about the plays that he's not running the ball. Does he feel like he's getting a break? And he goes, "No, I'm blocking for my quarterback. I'm helping my offensive line." Absolute team player. So I love the sentiment he's putting here. But what team? Well, if you look at the one on the right, let's start with that one. He's talking to someone, we don't know who. He's crossed them out, and he's asking if they mess with the USFL. He says FW. You know what that means. So he's trying to recruit said player. He's saying, "Hey, you want to come to this team? I'm trying to put something together." So that's an interesting one. So that's someone who's not in the USFL, maybe the XFL. He said he's trying to put together a super team. So he's trying to recruit this player. Who that could be, we don't know. But on the left, even more interesting, and here's a breadcrumb, he's talking about what number he's going to pick. And the person he's talking to is on the team that we assume he's signing with. They said, "We had a 7 last year. I think it was only blank." He makes a joke that it's not college. You can only have one blank, one number. So he says, "Where to?" And then he says, maybe I will wear two. And he goes, oh, I didn't think about that. And they're putting the prayer hands and the dove. This may be that they are referring to the late, great Alex Collins, who was the running back for the Memphis Showboats, a longtime NFL running back who sadly passed away this offseason. He was number two. Now, if Mark were to take number two and they're using these emojis saying that maybe he's taking the number over for Alex Collins, that would mean that it's Memphis. Now, Memphis would make some sense. He spent the entire season in Memphis. They were hub mates with the Gamblers this year. You know, he knows a lot of the players. He got to know the coaches last year. Todd Haley's out, so it's a new ship. You know, they're bringing in someone. Maybe he has an idea of who the head coach is and he wants to play for them. We don't know, but that is a big breadcrumb. You know, it's almost like he tore off a piece of the bread. It's not even a crumb. And that really does point to Memphis. Also, I didn't take a screenshot of it, but if you go through his tweets, it's, you know, retweeting things about the NFL, things about college, about Florida. And then the only thing USFL that he retweeted that's not an actual USFL account is my man, the captain, Brandon, our Memphis Showboats representative. So the pieces are aligning that maybe he's staying in Memphis, but not on the Gamblers. If so, that's okay. I only wish Mark the best. But this has been interesting. It's fun to follow. I haven't commented on it a lot, but I just thought it would be fun. At this point, there's a lot to just kind of culminate it all together. And let's just go look at that graphic one more time because I think it's amazing. The mind of Mark. Look at the brain on Mark. He's a smart guy, man. He's making some good points. And I just want to make sure you all saw them. So that all happened. We're working through now. What does this mean at this point? We've talked about the signings. We talked about Mark. Well, gamblers who might leave. You see that these are the players that hadn't re-signed with the Houston Gamblers yet. I took off Kenji. I took off Montel. They're all there. And then I scratched over it now because at this point, it feels like Lionel Vitale, the new GM of the Gamblers, has gone through the roster. He made cuts, and then he signed back some of the players that needed to renew. At this point, if he hasn't re-signed, I think he's going to be looking outside, which means this list is no more. Those are free agents. And it really makes me sad because, you know, wide receivers, T.O. Redding. Oh my gosh, I would love to have T.O. Redding back. Oh, but when I first posted this list, he kind of quote tweeted it. He's deleted it since and said that, you know, if they only knew. So I think there's something there. He might not be coming back for reasons unknown. Avery Genesee and Tyler Higbee. Oh my gosh, those would be so good to have back. Two great offensive linemen. Coach AG, one of the highest graded offensive linemen by PFF last season in the USFL. Would absolutely love to have him back. I think the Gamblers had top two offensive line last year, and that is huge to have in spring ball. You saw that the Stars just traded their all-star safety and another player for two offensive linemen because it is that important. So really tough. We lost them. We lost Steckler. He was picked up off of waivers. I can't remember where. But then we lost Ike and Andrew Galitz. These are tough, although we did already sign another punter, I believe, because Andrew got hurt last season. So Drew, man, my fellow Baylor Bear, I love the guy. Friend of the show. I don't know. At this point, I put just squiggles over it because I feel like these players are gone. And as sad as that makes me, we gotta report on the things that are happening. So I reported on things that were happening. Now we move on to the merger. Let's talk specifically about the merger. I talked about the signings and how they've stopped since the merger talk. So things have been happening. Now people are speculating. There's like pretty reputable news sources, insiders that are coming out saying that all 8 USFL teams are safe. This would be huge for us USFL stands that all 8 of our teams would survive. I feel awful that would mean that 4 XFL teams would be gone because we're hearing that it's a 12-team league. So that would be great for the Gamblers because I think the only 2 overlapping teams are Houston. It would be the Houston Roughnecks and the Houston Gamblers. Worrisome. Everybody says, oh, Ace got to go cover those Roughnecks now. No, I won't. I'm not doing that. In the XFL, I'm actually a Renegades fan. My man DP over there. So I would move to the Renegades. They're also an hour and 20-minute drive for me. It would be much easier. But it looks like the Gamblers should still be there. But right now, it's a little up in the air, which is fine because if the merger doesn't go through, then we definitely still exist and we have a season 3. So at this point, I'm just going to trudge ahead and act like it's happening. But I reached out. I talked to Lionel Vitale, friend of the show, interviewed him when he first got hired. And the main quote that I wanted to pull out that I got from Lionel was, everything is quiet now. And what that means is that, I think they're hearing about as much as we are. So pretty safe to say that the coaches don't know more than we do. The insiders are hearing things. It's all kind of up in the air. So I asked him, are you just waiting to see if something happens, or are you just trudging on and acting like there's going to be a season 3? And he said, I'm doing both. I'm doing a bit of both. And that was kind of all I could get. But I mean, I think that's why right now he's waiting. And a big thing is that I'm not that worried. I'm not. Some people are worried that, oh, the Gamblers haven't signed anybody since Kenji and Montel. Okay. Do you know how much talent there is on practice squads right now in the NFL? That maybe there's a decent amount of those guys that I guarantee when the season ends, they're going to think to themselves, I am right there. I am one stepping stone away from being on an active roster in the NFL. What can I do? And their agents might say, hey, it's the offseason. We're not really doing much anyway. Might as well go make $78,000 and play in the USFL, get some good tape, full speed game tape. So there's going to be a lot of talent coming out. Mark Thompson might put together his dream team. Who knows? But it is a spring league. And so I think there's still a lot of talent out there. There's still a lot of time before next season. So I am not worried. I think we will be okay. Everybody just calm down, take a breath. If the XFL USFL merger happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we know we got the Gamblers. So at this point, just chill on it, man. Just relax. Like, it's all good. We're doing great. So until next time, all in, go Gamblers. See you next episode.
I'm in the big leagues. Told them don't miss me. Balling like Houston. Hey, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag.